Over the course of the last couple of days, we got some really fun stuff as it relates to character balancing and which characters have the best stats overall in Sparking Zero. So basically, by taking a look at it, one could surmise anyway that you have a list of the best characters in the game. But first, before we dive into that, I wanted to start off by talking about the DP scale and how that all works in terms of characters. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe. And I want to ask you guys as well, what is your main character? Which one are you having the most fun with in terms of playing online ranked? And which one are you having the most difficulty with? I'm still exploring that option. And I got to say, after a strike, man, that's something. All right. So that being said, we're going to start off by talking about the DP here. So basically, each DP has their own buffs and nerfs, if you will, associated with each level. So as you guys know, or if you didn't know, when you play online mode, in some game modes anyway in the game, you have the ability to choose your team, but they're sorted out by the based on the amount of DP, excuse me. And typically, I think that the cap is 15. So that being said, DP1 characters have a life points. All characters have a life point scale of 1.0. So whatever that means, I'm not really sure. Maybe these other characters have different, customization options on them that give them more HP because they don't all have as far as I remember, don't all have the exact same HP. I could be wrong on that. I haven't played a ton of ranked so far. But anyway, the key difference here is the damage scale. So DP1 versus DP10, the damage number is insane. 0.35 versus 1.3 on a DP10 character. The character cooldown, though, however, is crazy short on DP1 characters versus very long and at its longest on DP10. All the other ones are in between. And that's because when you were trying to, obviously, they've got it sorted that way because the DP10 characters are largely the strongest characters in the series. And so obviously they should be doing the most damage. And as a result, they take the longest to switch back out. But those DP1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, I think the sweet spot also is DP5 or so, DP4 or 5. But those characters have their uses because they have to be plugged into your team because you want to use all of your points if possible when you're playing these modes. You don't want to have like 3 points not represented for whatever reason. Like you want to fill in all your points. And so the main draw there is that some of these characters may have crazy gimmicks or abilities or utilities that allow them to be really strong. Like Yajirobe is one people talk about a lot. So that being said, what's your favorite low DP character in the game? Post it down below. Is it Yajirobe and why are you a scum? All right, just kidding. But let's go ahead and move over. And by the way, side note, have you guys seen the Pokemon stuff lately? I'm not going to really elaborate, but I got to say, man, my favorite Pokemon is Typhlosion, so I'm getting cooked online. Shout out to Kelbert here and the Sparking Zero page, and also Kadisaki. Follow him on his YouTube channel or Twitter. Here's what it looks like, or not, because it didn't take me there. So Kadisaki, I believe, is a modder and has been modding multiple games, so follow him on Twitter. But we have information as it relates to the characters. So how this looks, all 182 characters ranked stat-wise from best to worst. And we're going to pull up the Google document. And this is, again, information from the game itself. Data mined information, basically. So the character... So they've all got attack, melee, defense, key blast, health bars, DP, overall stats, and then the health bonus. Health is largely across the board, largely the same. But the funny thing is, the character with the most overall stats is Ani freaking Laza at number 1. Ani Laza has the most overall stats in the game. So Ani Laza is an interesting character. I haven't got the opportunity to play with him, but he does have some things going in his way that he's a giant character that you have to play a little bit differently against. Have you guys had any difficulty with Ani Laza? Post it down below. And then again, look at the defensive stat. The defense is where he is absolutely shredding at 980 freaking 3. But as you look at it, all the giant form characters have massive defense, and I'm pretty sure that's why they don't get staggered as easily, things like that. Dr. Wheelo in there as well. So grade 8 baby Vegeta probably has the highest one in the game at 1032. The attack stat, though, is not as high. And so the regular sized characters like Broly and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who are number 2 and 3 on the list respectively for overall stats, separated by 1 point, are basically the highest offensive characters in the game. They're going to do the most damage. Now, this is just pure stats. It has nothing to do with their synergy of their kit and what they can do, right? So maybe the characters have other abilities that buff their damage further, etc. That doesn't really matter here. So it's funny to see full power Super Saiyan Broly. So DBS Broly Super Saiyan is the strongest non-giant form character in the game stat wise, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is third in the game technically, second behind Broly by 1 point if you don't factor in the giant form character. And then number 5 is grade 8 baby Vegeta, so GT Vegeta. Really strong there. Broly Super Saiyan, legendary Super Saiyan Broly is number 5 there in the game. So that's pretty crazy. Now, the thing is, there's a pretty sizable gap here, about 70 points or so between the two Brolys. So there's that. I'm not making a commentary on which one is better. Just more or less the stat distribution looks a little bit interesting. Then you've got Beerus and Whis at 7 and 8, or 6 and 7. It's separate. Okay, so number 1 is technically, you know, Anilaza, but he's listed as 2, so it's confusing the hell out of me. Ultra Instinct Goku there, Berserker Kale, and then number 10 is Half Corrupted Fusion Zamasu. Berserker Kale slid her way all the way up there. That's pretty legit. So basically all the Broly type characters are represented up there towards the top 10. So do any of you guys use Berserker Kale? Let me know. Ultra Instinct is not a surprise. Beerus and Whis also not surprised. By the way, the Beerus should be dominant in this game, which is pretty cool because it's kind of hard a lot of times for Beerus to be crazy on release in a game from what I've seen. Anyway, so Lord Slug Giant Form, Super Saiyan God Vegito, excuse me. So Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Vegito, I'm assuming that's what that is. Super Saiyan Blue. God of Destruction Topo, and then Janemba, and then Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta at 15. Okay. So, where's a big stat drop-off? Dr. Wheelo pops in next. He's got some of his own gimmicks that are really strong. Jiren has some of his gimmicks that are really strong, despite being at 20 or 19 here. But these are all largely all high DP characters. High DP or giant characters. So, like, that's not terribly surprising. So, I assume that if we scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see, yep, Hercule. Hercule has negative stats. That's insane. But that's because he's low DP, right? So that's crazy. Negative 2,000. Hercule is the weakest character in the game, to nobody's surprise, right? But it's just funny to see it. Bobbity, second weakest character in the game stat-wise. Again, not really a surprise lore-wise, but it is what it is. Chaozu and Frieza Force Soldier, Yajirobe, Master Roshi down there as well. Videl, Guldo, Kid Gohan, Kakunsa, and Rosie. Damn, they really think they that weak, don't they? Dispo? Cyberman next to Dispo? Good lord, that's crazy. I mean, again, it's a game, so I don't really care, but I couldn't say that pretty much any character in Tournament of Power is down here, like scale wise, but it is what it is. I don't really care. Maybe even Pan shouldn't be down here because she's right next to Scouter Vegeta in Turles. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me either. But again, game. So where's Krillin at? Okay, he's right down here too, unsurprisingly, at 166 in the game power-wise. But it's all right. He's got After Image Strike. He's good. Kaba is down here as well. So Super Garlic Gun. Super Garlic Jr. at 73 in the game. Hit and Jiren are 48 and 47 in the game. Super Saiyan Z Broly, so just regular Super Saiyan Broly at 45. Rose Goku Black at 44. Interesting. So what is the biggest takeaway that you guys have from the way that the stats are broken down in the game? Again, this is just number stuff. It's just the design of the game. It doesn't have much to do with like the best characters individually and how they function, if that really wasn't clear, because I'm sure that you could look at this list and disagree with most of the choices where they're laid out. But it's interesting to see that Anilaza is at the top of the game in terms of stats. Where's Yamcha at, by the way? He's got to be like bottom 5, right? Where's Yamcha at? Yamcha is actually surprisingly high. He's 144. Wow. Okay. Next to GT, Goku, and Topo. All right. I would have thought he would have been down there by the Cybermen. Pun intended. You know what's awesome about Yamcha, though? Recently, I did a video where he just soloed all of the main villains, the big bads of Dragon Ball Z, and you definitely need to see it because it's amazing, and it's right there on the screen right now for you.